What's up, fellas? Welcome to the garage. Today we're gonna talk a little bit more in detail about the wiring on the Ford Sierra Sapphire I got here. So on these kind of old school cars, we can actually pretty easily separate the wiring onto the engine wiring and everything else, you know, like the lights, the wipers, the interior lighting, audio system, etc. So first we can take a quick look at the overall car wiring. Here there really won't be too much to talk about because here I actually kept pretty much all the original wiring. Why complicate it or redo it if the original wiring works just fine? What I did do or add or upgrade is that I added the lights here in the leg compartment, if we call it that, and also the glove box light and also the dimmer here, you know, so I can set the certain lighting a bit low in the evening, let's say. The reason for adding all of these is because this Sierra originally really was the base model, so it didn't even have those. Since I already had the wiring from some other a little more equipped Sierras, I pretty much just added it. It's quite interesting because some of the circuits, you know, you really can just add. You actually have the connectors on the base wiring. But for some others, you know, for the dimmer and everything, I had to fool around a little with the wires, but nothing too difficult. Also, I added a complete wiring for the electric light adjustment for the headlights, you know, so you can just adjust the height of the lights with a knob or with a button. And that's pretty much it regarding the interior wiring. Also, I have some wires for the audio system here, but we won't dive too deep into that because now it's not the time. First, we have to get this car moving on its own steam. Also, I've added some door switches in here because the base models don't seem to have these. So if you want it for this light, for example, to turn on, you had to open up one of the front doors. While now, by adding these two switches on the back doors, you can also see something when opening the rear doors. So if you happen to, I don't know, pick something up in the night, you have the light to see when opening the rear doors. Yeah, but that's that really is a minor detail. Also, talking about upgrading from the base spec. The base spec, of course, didn't have the rev counter, but only had the clock here. That's just ordinary, you know, clock in the place of rev counter. So I had to check the wires behind there, and also, you know, instead of plus 12 volts for the clock, I had to wire in the RPM wire, you know, that will go to the ECU. Talking about the ECU, now we come to the other part of wiring in the car. Here is the custom wiring loom I made for this car, or this engine rather. It consists of the engine wiring loom, as you can see here, and of course the ECU. This bracket here, as you can see, it's an zinc covered bracket, is actually an original bracket, and here in this place, actually the original ECU would sit. See, it's got kind of a plastic inner bracket here. So I decided to just use this one. This whole bracket comes placed just behind the glove box in the car. So exactly right here, see? And it's really quite convenient because we have these two holes here to route the wires through the firewall inside the engine bay. So the placement here is very optimal. But if you've ever seen one of these, you will notice that this has quite some stuff added to it. First of them being this fuse/relay box. I've actually kind of recycled the whole assembly here, and I think it comes from BMW E39. But the point here is that you have the fuses and the relays nicely sorted here. And also inside the car, I will be actually able to get to the fuses in a case of, you know, broken fuse or something. And yeah, it just makes a lot of sense, you know, to have them right here. Also, it's kind of clean looking, everything is nicely visible, and on the car it's nicely tucked in, you know, it doesn't interfere with passenger legs or something. So anyways, that's that. That kind of takes care of the power delivery. Here I got the main relay, and here is the fuel pump relay. Here we get into possible crossing of the two wirings we're talking about here. The Sierra itself has an original fuel pump relay, and it comes fitted in this relay fuse box here. I could use the original fuel pump relay here, but I just wanted to make it clean and you know, everything that I kind of wired in here, you know, in one place. These two relays are actually kind of a spare ones, so if I happen to need something else, you know, driven by a relay, I got two more here, as well as some free fuse places. The fuel pump The fuel pump relay actually sends the power here over this inertia switch that is actually included in the car originally. Although originally in the Sierra it's back in the trunk, I decided to put it here, and this one will actually shut the fuel pump off in a case of a crash, you know. So if I take, let's say, this and smack this frame like so, see? This switch actually turned off. So you can just turn it back on by pushing this button inside. See? Now it's back on. And if I happen to bump into something, it needs quite a good bump. But yeah, anyways, it shuts off the fuel supply. So in case of a crash, you know, let's say in the front side, it will actually shut off the fuel pump and prevent the fuel being, I don't know, let's say pumped onto the fire here in a hypothetical situation. Moving on, we got the fuses here. I always like to have as much fuses, let's say, as I can. What I mean by that is that every separate system, let's say ignition, injection, etc., has a separate fuse. So I got a fuse for ignition, injection, then this one is for auxiliaries. Auxiliaries in a sense of plus 12 volt, running some solenoids inside the engine bay. For example, this idle motor here, and also the electronic boost control solenoid. Then we have one for the O2 sensor, and then a separate one for the ECU itself. The last one in this case is for the fuel pump. Next we can talk a little bit about the ECU. Now this ECU I'm using here is a speeduino based ECU. That means it's an actual standalone ECU. You got the USB port here, and you just plug an USB cable right here, then onto your laptop, and you can tune this however you like. This is kind of a budget-friendly ECU, and we'll talk about it in more detail in some other videos. The important thing is that it is a standalone ECU. You do have to wire everything in by yourself. We got the inputs and the outputs right here, as well as, of course, the power wires. So moving on, the majority of the wires are sensor inputs and outputs we got here, and these come wired here inside the engine bay. We can quickly go over the wiring loom I made here. This one is actually a pretty simple one, so we can just do a quick overview. Here we got the CPS sensor, or the crankshaft position sensor. This is the most important sensor because it sends the information to the ECU about how fast the engine is running and also in what position the engine is in. Here I'm using the CPS sensor right here that I actually sell if you want one. This one uses the original Ford VR sensor and this trigger wheel that is fitted behind the stock harmonic dampener or the crankshaft pulley. I'm using a shielded wire that you can see right here. It is shielded. That means it blocks the interference from, let's say, an alternator or some other electrical disturbances. And it makes a big difference, you know, with the cleanliness of the signal going inside the ECU. But that's a whole another subject. Here is the main plus 12 volt feed for all of these relays and consequently everything ahead, you know. Here we got the electronic boost control solenoid wiring. Here I got the ignition wiring. This bunch of wires will go to the smart coil or an igniter and a standard coil. I haven't decided yet about this. We'll just use something and make it work. Moving on, we got this hose here. Now this doesn't have anything to do with the electronics, or maybe we could say it does, because this is the manifold absolute pressure hose. And instead of having a manifold absolute pressure sensor like map sensor right here, we just have a hose, and there we have a map sensor inside this casing here. You see, this is this hose that leads over there. Next we got the injectors wiring. I got them all labeled, and here for this application I will be using them in pairs or in batch as it's called. Then we got the intake air temperature sensor that comes fitted right here, see? Now this isn't the best placement for such sensor because this is all aluminum and it does suffer quite badly from heat soak. So a better location would be like here before the throttle bodies. But for now we'll keep it there and relocate it if necessary. Then we got the idle control connector here and also the water temperature sensor connector. Then we got the TPS, that means throttle position sensor, and last but not least we got the oil pressure sensor wiring. Now I like to use this one instead of just ordinary oil pressure sensor because this one actually feeds exact information on what the oil pressure is inside the car compared to the original oil pressure sensor, which just lets you know if the pressure is above half bar or so. Also, I talked about the oil pressure protection that Speeduino offers in another video, which I will just include right here if you're interested. And lastly, we got this bunch of wires here. These include an RPM signal to go to the RPM gauge. Then we got the wires for the O2 sensor, which I will be using, of course, the AFR sensor, which also outputs some data to go to the ECU. Then I got the clutch switch wire here as well, you know, that is fitted on the clutch pedal and is used for launch control or flat shifting, which works just great. And of course the key ignition plus 12 volts, you know, to control this main relay once we turn the key inside the ignition switch there. So there we have it. Now you know what elements a standalone ECU wiring is actually made of. But now let's get this wiring system actually fitted inside the car, because I'm actually kind of very excited to get this engine running again. For the lights here and everything I also used just original wiring. I just covered it in this kind of plastic hoses. See? You just cut this hose here by the middle and you just put it over the wires. Then of course I also put that tape over. It's really nice, you know, it's very well protected and it also keeps this shape, see? So I like this very much, you know, instead of having just a bunch of wires just taped over with the electrical tape. So that's what I did here. So this thing, of course, we're gonna start putting from the inside of the car through the bulkhead there. And yeah, just kind of wiggle it around and fit it so everything is where it's supposed to be. So let's go and install this.